They're in Freedom Soft, yes, ma'am.
So, like, do you just go into Freedom Soft and look at every single one of them, or can you download a day's worth of responses into Excel? That's what I'm asking.
So as far as downloading the responses, I've never downloaded the responses in Freedom Soft. Typically, we just copy and paste those right into a Word document for our VA and just keep it loaded up right there. As far
Yeah, you would like copy, download in the Word. Excel.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's my question. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's exactly how we'll do it, and just keep it there for our records. That way, we'll know what we'll be able to do. Hey, Jaleesa, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
And Jordan, I have a question. It's Christiana.
Okay.
What do you do with the warm leads? Do you go back to them by phone a week later or a day later?
With the warm leads, we want to get those people back on the phone. So within a day or a week. The one thing I found out about text message marketing, and it's extremely difficult to get these people back on the phone. That's the reason we was able to get 100 leads, but we closed one deal because we had to get these people back on the phone. That was a problem. So out of the 100 leads, we maybe had 50 conversations after the leads, right? So that's a big problem, and that's a big thing that you got to do with deal with follow up. So I would suggest if you're going to be following up, hey man, call these people 3-4 times in a row until they pick up. Because 90% of us are by our cell phone, right? Is that a safe assumption? And 90% of us will probably answer our cell phone if somebody calls us 2-3 times in a row. Well, maybe this is my husband. I don't know. He's not with me, right? Maybe we need to go. Or maybe this is my wife. Whatever the case may be, you have those type of thoughts. Oh, that's my son. He may be calling me. Or whatever the case may be. So if you call these people multiple times, I promise you, you'll get a better rate at actually getting people to answer the phone call and actually pick up. So that's one of the biggest things is actually getting people back on the phone so they can pick up. That's one of the biggest concerns with text message for sure.
Perfect. Thanks.
No problem. I got another question. To have 15,000 leads a month, to maintain that number or seeking leads locally, regionally, state, or federal, are you looking for just distress, divorce, not federal or national? Typically with me, in my success on a smaller level, you're looking for distress and divorce. Yes, for sure. I'm not necessarily looking for federal or national, anything like that, because we're talking about buying homes. So with that being said, we're keeping it on a mainstream and just looking for those distress, divorce, and delinquent properties that we know they have everyday problems, and they're going to be looking for some emotional comfort or making emotional decisions, not logical decisions. That's the reason we go after that. So with 15,000 leads, it's definitely good. When you start getting to those higher numbers, like I said, for the most part, you're just hoping the seller has a pulse on the other end of the phone, right? You just want somebody to talk to. And you have, like I said, you have the system, you have the script built out to get them to where you need to get them to. And then you can kind of filter out through the good leads or the bad leads. So you have that. So hopefully that answered your question. Do you?
No.
It didn't? I can't hear you on mute right now. I can't hear you.
I'm muted. There we go.
Okay.
Better, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. What my question was is because I get list itself, and at a certain point, I'll get like 10,000 for vacancy in the DFW area, but after that, I kind of extend the list. And I guess my question was, if I continue to do this month to month, do I just continue to look in the DFW area, or is it a certain point that you found that you have to broaden out your area, like from the regional to the state to
Got you.
another state, just to kind of maintain? Because I'm thinking if I get to a point with a VA and I have to have like 20,000 people on the list,
Mm-hmm.
if I look for distress, that list is going to start dissipating each month. And so that's kind of where my question is how are you scaling? Are you still just in the DFW area? Are you now in Texas, or have you broadened out?
Yes, ma'am. So we work in every major area in Texas because we get the data every month, and it don't cost us a lot of money to do so. So we just go ahead and take all that information, and we got boots on the ground that can actually run those leads and handle the follow-up process, all that good stuff. But the biggest thing I would say is I don't have to go to those markets. You just may have to figure out a different niche list, right? So one that maybe not a lot of people think about is the water shutoff list, right? You can get that directly from the city. You go to the city website and you get the water list. And it's free for some counties not free. And I have my VA go manage all that data. And then instead of just hitting divorce, and delinquent and distressed, maybe I go get a vacant list. So a water shut off, vacant list, and then maybe I stack all that data against each other. Then I go get a code violation list. So I'm just looking for opportunities throughout all these lists. And I promise you, if you're in the Dallas area, Dallas have more than enough opportunity, and they have more than enough lists out there that you can actually go and get that data from them. So that's one of the biggest things. If you don't have boots on the ground, or if you got to go to another city and actually teach somebody how to do real estate, you probably don't want to be in that market. You want to go in that market and they already have the systems in place. They have the buyers. So it's just a clean cut transaction. Hey, here's a hot lead, send it over. They close the deal. We get paid. We both get paid, right? That's kind of the source we want to do it. But if you're in DFW, I promise you, you probably just need some more lists, which you can go get the water list, the vacant list, code violation list, tax delinquent, tax sale. It's about 100,000 people, at least 100,000 on just tax delinquent, right? Which is a good list because all these people have paid for houses. They're just behind on taxes. So they can essentially take a cash offer.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of. Hey, that was a great question. Thank you for that one. Do you go from Freedom Soft and then go load to Excel to determine which ones to take out locally? Rashonda, you're going to have to ask that question again. Do you go on Freedom Soft and then go down and then download to the Excel to determine which ones to take out? I already answered it? Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I'm just starting out. Are there any tutorials or auto examples on how to call flow? I'm creating one actually on my YouTube channel. I'm creating an actual call flow on that. I'm going to get that away. But that's what I would say. There's not really any of them. What I would say is don't worry about messing up. We all mess up. I mess up. You're going to mess up. It's just a part of the growing process. So just go out there and take action. I say this all the time. Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. You do not have to know. As long as you're willing to put in the work, I promise you, you will make some money. But if you're sitting back waiting on somebody else to help you out or waiting to learn, right, and waiting to take action, or I know it, but now I just got to do it, and now I just got to do it, you'll never get there. But if you just go and you keep grinding, you're going to get it. It's just inevitable. You take too much action not to get a deal, right? What is your YouTube channel? It's just my first and last name, Jordan Aubrey. So you can search me on YouTube.
I have a quick question for you as well.
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Lacey.
Okay.
So I don't see like your dollar signs on this one, but for the price that you pay for text messaging per month, how would you say, like the results that you get, how do those compare?
Text messaging is always good because it's a form of, it's almost like lay downs. When I'm saying like people will respond and they're just ready, they're just so emotionally beat that they're ready to just give it to you. So that's the best thing about text message. It's more like an active lead once it comes in. Like if they give you a positive response, 9 times out of 10, they want to sell the house. It's not like a cold calling where you got to filter through and actually go through your script. But typically when you send them a lead, they're interested in your services. That's one of the biggest things. But as far as that's kind of the biggest thing with text message. You got to spend a little bit of money. I would definitely advise you to spend at least $1,000 or try to figure out a way to spend $1,000 a month on text messages. But understand this: with any cheap form of marketing, in text message typically I just put $1 sign. I don't know what happened to it, but any cheap form of marketing, you have to call more. You have to pick up the phone and call more. You got to have more conversations. It's just a numbers game. When you start spending a lot of money on marketing, say if you're getting PPC or SEO, those leads are active. And I can give you an example. I'm going to talk about it later on today, but the example is, how many times have you Googled places to eat near me? Well, when you Googled that, you was actually interested in eating, right? With text messages, some of them may come through and some of them may be interested in it. Some of them may not. But a lot of these are active leads. I would definitely say the responses, these are a little bit better. But be ready to make more phone calls with text message marketing.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem, Lacey. Great question. So that's basically what we got with text message. We're going to be moving right on to the RVMs. Let's do it. So ringless voicemail is very, very good stuff. Ringless voicemail is very, very good stuff. So we got RVMs. Where can I get my RVMs from? All of ringless voicemail is essentially this. Their phone does not ring, and somehow they get a notification saying they have a voicemail. Sometime it rings for a split second. Sometime it don't ring at all, and they left with a voicemail. I'm pretty sure everybody on this call has gotten them at some point in time. And you wondered, well, I didn't even hear my phone go off. How could they leave me a voicemail? They left you a ringless voicemail. That's exactly what they did. So RVMs, where you can get it from, I get mine from justdelivered.net, I believe. You can Google it. You can go to Sly Broadcast. You can go to REI Rail, which is all great platforms that you can actually use for ringless voicemail. One thing about ringless voicemail is call volume. My goodness. If you send out 1,000, be ready for at least 250 calls within the next hour. Especially if you sent out 1,000 and you've never hit these people before. Your phone will literally blow up. I remember the first day we did it. We made 2 or 3 offers the first day, which is great. But anyways, with that being said, the first time we did it, literally it went out at noon. We were supposed to have a meeting at 12:30. When it went out at noon, the whole hour to hour and 15 minutes, me and my partner is just sitting there picking up the phone. We're just answering every call that comes through, right? So that's the problem with RVMs. You cut it on. If you got it at a high volume, you're going to get flooded with phone calls, which is a good problem to have. It's better than not getting any phone calls, but you're going to have to be able to handle that volume. How do you handle that volume? You actually set up an IVR OptiTrack voicemail prompt, which basically all it is just saying that, hey, thanks for calling me back. Press 1 to get a non-obligational cash offer. Press 2 to be put on our do not call list. So you filter through the people that actually called you back and heard the voicemail that actually want your services. That's the biggest thing, right? You filter through all that. You don't have to worry about any of that. Open rate for RVMs, voicemails, is 96%. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but I believe that's 100% true. Somehow when I get a voicemail, even if I don't listen to it for the next 3-4 months, in 3-4 months when I do listen to it, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to open it up. So if you want your messages to actually get heard, RVM is a perfect way to do it. Now I do got to drop this nugget on you guys. Obviously, you guys are ladies, so you wouldn't have to worry about that. But a lady's voice works better than a guy's voice, 100% of the time. My deep, very white voice is not going to work on the RVM, right? But a soft young lady, a soft lady, when you're talking, right? Somehow people just want to pick up the phone. I've had guys, I was actually looking for Amanda. Yeah, she called me. I was wanting to talk to Amanda. Is she around? Amanda's my wife. She does all that for me. Because I know that if I called, that same guy wouldn't pick up. But now he's actually interested in selling his house. Right? So that's just one of those biggest things that you got to watch out for. That was just a nugget right there. So you don't have your husband doing it if you're nervous. Women, make sure you're doing it for sure. Scalable, highly scalable. Reason why is because somebody else can take these calls for you. So say if you got that Zen call working for you for your dialer, man, shoot, once Zen call is a dialer, now I put that Zen call number on the RVM number, and when they call me back from the RVM, it goes to my trained cold callers. Right? Now they're filtering the leads. Now they're qualified. These people, I'm paying them top dollar. We've already polished them. They know how to get on the phone and handle conversations. They're just doing their job. It may come from a different source. It's not a cold call. These people actually called them back, but at least now we actually got an opportunity to make some money. So, or get a trained professional on the phone and make some money for sure. So that's what we got. As you can see, if you tell them that Jordan sent you from Just Deliver It, they'll charge you 2 cents per RVM. So it's not really expensive. 2 cents. I mean, $100 go a long way with that. $100 go a long way on your list. And with RVMs, they only send to cell phones. So if you're not cold calling, you're missing out on the landlines. So the only thing text message RVM sent to is cell phones. So that's one big thing. That's why I always encourage cold calling, because you got to get your landlines in. Because shoot, I made $15,000 from just hitting a landline. How long does the discount last? It should last forever. So just take a picture of it. Can you guys see the whole thing? Okay, yeah, just take a picture of it, screenshot it. It should last forever. It shouldn't be a problem. If it is, let me know, and shoot, I'll give them a call and get everything worked out. And as you can see, the money sign in the bottom left hand corner is just one. It's not very expensive. You can spend $100, $200 and go a long way. Literally, we spend $800 for 50,000 RVMs, And when we get 50,000 RVMs, they last for multiple months. Multiple months. We get that big discount. We get all of it, and we just have those phones ringing off the hook. So that's the benefit of it. So let's start pushing a little bit faster. I know I'm taking a while. Let's jump into email marketing. I'll be honest. So this one, email marketing and billboards are two marketing forms that I've never made money from because I've never done it enough. So with email marketing, what I use it for is actually finding buyers and just staying in contact with my buyers. As far as sellers, it do work. And the reason why I know is because I was at a meeting with competition where the husband, I knocked on the door, I talked to the husband. Well, the wife worked from home and she's always on a computer. So I talked to the husband. I thought I was the only person involved. Next thing you know, the wife had multiple people coming in after us. And I'm sitting there with my competition, so I know it works. Email marketing is just like any other form of marketing. It takes consistency to actually get it going, right? And then in your subject line, you really have to have a catchy subject line to get them to open up your email marketing. You can use people like Constant Contact, Get Response, great companies. If you got the email, Real Estate IQ and REI Rail gives you emails. Not REI Rail, REI Skip. I'm sorry, REI Skip. When you skip trace, they'll give you actual emails that you could email to and actually do start the marketing campaign, which is pretty inexpensive. Typically, they let you think for like 10,000 contacts, just emails. It costs like $30 a month. So it's very inexpensive. It allows you to go at a lot of pace, and just all you want to do is put in your emails is just a success story. That's all you want to do. I actually had a young lady that was investing in real estate, and she was doing email marketing, and she was tracking her KPIs. She was tracking the numbers that she needed to know to see if it was working. And with that being said, she ended up getting deals from it. But the more she texts, the better responses she got. So just like mail, you send out 2 pieces of mail, you're probably not going to make money from it. You send out 6 pieces of mail, now all of a sudden they see that brand, they see that letter, they're constantly reminded. Now when they're ready, they know exactly who to go to that they can trust to get it done, right? So that's one big thing you got right there. Then you got, how many do I send? I would definitely say send in bulk as much as possible. Don't try to do just a couple of hundred because you got to hit these people constantly over and over and over. So I would say send in bulk. Consistency, the more hits, the more returns. I just talked about that. The more hits, the more returns. Scalable, highly scalable, because literally you're just putting in a template and you're creating a template. Once you got it all created, you can just wash and repeat, right? Use it, wash and repeat, and just keep on going. Open rate 32%, so it's very. So with that being said, what that's telling me, open rate, you got to hit them more than once. That's ultimately what it's saying. I got to keep hitting these people with this form of marketing. So that's what we got with that one. Let's go into the digital side of marketing, which is, I would say, is probably one of the best out there. It's probably the best form of marketing out there because if you guys can know, hey, people are on their phone more than ever these days. And their phone is basically their computer. So if you can start doing some digital marketing, hey, I would definitely advise anybody to do so. Let's jump into it so you guys can understand which one is now and which one is later and how we do it. So with digital marketing, SEO and PPC specifically, both of those are more like who questions, not how questions. So if you're looking to make money from it, I would tell you to go learn SEO and PPC. And I'm saying make money, like if you're looking to make that your career, a digital marketer, and you're looking to do that, go learn it. But if you're not looking to do that, a lot of wasted time, get with somebody that already knows what they're doing and actually have them do that for you and grow it. So SEO is actually search engine optimization. It's a big tool from Google. They created it. But SEO is search engine optimization. For example, if you ever was listening for a song, you heard a song, if you just type in the lyrics to that song or that chorus, they're going to pull up exactly who sings the song and the name of that song, right? That's search engine optimization. They're putting exactly what you're looking for in front of you as soon as you search it. That's the best part about it. Now, SEO is a down the line marketing. That's like planting your seeds, and then before you know it, you start reaping harvest. So I'll give you an example. A guy out of Dallas, he started SEO probably about 2 years ago. His first year, he was not on the first page of Google, but he kept going. His first year, he was spending money on SEO. He was building out his platform. He was making his citations on his website. He was doing all the blogs and had them linked to his website, to his social media, and have it going back and forth. Just doing those things. And then from that standpoint, the next year he finally got on Google. Right now, he's the number one guy in DFW when it comes to SEO marketing. And SEO is literally free, right? You pay for it initially to have somebody build it out for you. But as far as what you're paying a month, is technically free, right? PPC is more pay per click. SEO is where they just found out you're a good company. They searched for home buyers and your company popped out because you're one of the best in the area. That's SEO, search engine optimization. But it's free. So once they paid the upfront money, now what they get is about $15,000 worth of paid for traffic every month for free, because they was willing to invest and plant those seeds years ago. Now it's coming to fruition where $15,000 of paid marketing. That means his phone is ringing regardless. He don't have to go to work. All he got to do is make sure somebody's always managing his SEO, and literally the phones are ringing. People are actively looking to sell their house. And like I said, with this type of lead, it's an active lead. I gave the example earlier. How many times have you Googled food near you and you ate within the next 15 to 20 minutes? It don't take long. This is the exact same way with sellers. As far as in real estate, when they Google want to sell my house fast for cash, they're looking to do business today, not tomorrow. They're looking to go to that house right now and get the paperwork started so they can get rid of this headache of theirs. So that's one thing you got to look at. SEO is it's upfront money. You got to always be producing content, constantly putting out something new. But I promise you, it's like reaping a harvest. You start planting the seeds today, and tomorrow, hey, when we get in the spring or whatever the case may be, you're going to start reaping the harvest and making a lot of money from it. And it's going to be consistent money as well. So that's like planting the seed. PPC, pay per click, is paid for money. So that's your now money. That's your now marketing. So if you're doing both of these, I recommend doing both at the same time. You build your SEO, but while you're building your SEO, how about you go ahead and start paying PPC to actually get some leads coming through so you can talk to some sellers, so you can actually close some deals, right? So with that being said, pay per click is actually what you're paying for, pay per click. In Dallas, it costs anywhere from $35 to $50 to click in real estate. With those particular numbers, you got to spend a lot of money a day. So typically, I wouldn't advise anybody to do it unless they're ready to spend about $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month on it. But the best part about it, when you get to PPC, like I said, they're active leads. So a lot of these people have already determined in their mind that they're ready to sell the property. They're not interested in you holding on to it. They're not interested in anything else. They're ready to sell that particular property. So that's a good thing about that PPC. One thing is Investor Carrot is a converting website. I would highly suggest, if you're looking for a website, go to Investor Carrot. You can go on their website. You pay monthly, and they'll tell you exactly what to do to build it out. SEO, tell you how to get there with the PPC. They'll run and control some of the things for you. So it just makes it a whole heck of a lot easier for you to actually get some wins in. And that's the biggest part with the PPC. It just makes it a whole heck of a lot easier for you to start making money now. But like I said, it's the way of the world. Internet is the way of the world. Every day, every next day, tomorrow, the internet will be more important than it was today. The day after that, the internet will be more important than it was after today, right? The next year, so every day is important. So make sure we at least at some point in time start planting some seeds to start growing this out of the business. So essentially, we don't have to do the hustle work of putting out bandit signs or sending out mailers or whatever the case. All we got to do is sit back and wait for that phone to ring and collect the checks and make money. Any questions about that? Okay. Do you supply them with lists? Sandra Martinez, when you're saying supply them with lists, what list? What are you talking about? Is that for email or was that for PPC and SEO? I just seen that in the chat. As for email, yes, you do provide the list. You do provide the contacts. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You do that portion of it. Let me get that out of the way. Thank you. No problem. What about the loan modification? Just a golden nugget at the bottom. I got loan modification. Loan modification is not a lot of people go after that keyword. And keyword is just basically saying that these are the terms that they're looking for. So whenever you put loan modification, if I got money behind that keyword, my ad will pop up for that keyword. So loan modification is a great one to put out there because the only people Googling loan modification are people that's actually in foreclosure or facing foreclosure. So they're they're actively looking to get a modification to save their house. But maybe when they Google that, they'll see your ad to buy the house. So you just want to make sure you get in front of the people that need to sell the most. If you have a $1,000 marketing budget to start, what would you recommend using? Definitely some of those cheaper forms of marketing as far as cold calling, RVMs, text message. If I only got $1,000 a month, that's what I'm doing. I'm probably gonna hook up with Mojo Dollar for $150. Give me a lead for another $100. Give me some leads for another $100. Start cold calling them, start sending text messages, and start doing RVMs. So I'll probably spend about $600-700 in text messages, another $100 in RVMs, and then just cold calling that list while I'm doing all those other forms of marketing. Probably compounded with some door knocking as well. Door knocking works. It works. We made a lot of money from door knocking, so it works.
Jordan, I have another question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
With SEO and PPC, I mean, I have a little bit of a marketing background, but how much would you say realistically, like, we would be spending monthly to get these forms of marketing up and running?
As far as SEO and PPC, you're going to be spending some money, and that's why I would say I would recommend having $6,000-7,000 just for that form of marketing, just for SEO and PPC, because it is expensive. And with PPC, I wouldn't want you to go and say just spend $3,500 where you may get a deal and you may not get a deal. I'd rather you spend $5, $6, $7,000 to where we know we're getting a deal and we're making our money back, as opposed to going out there, like I said earlier, and just doing a little bit, thinking we're doing something and not doing enough to produce a deal. So I would rather go big instead of be safe and try to make it smaller. I would definitely spend a lot more money on it. SEO is a long-term play, so literally it's probably going to cost you probably about, I think we're spending $500 a month. So it's probably going to cost you $500 to $600-700 a month just for SEO, and that's not even trying to get any returns back. That's just initially planting the seeds, and then hopefully in the next 12 months, you got it. If you got a marketing background, if you're pretty good with tech, Lacey, I would definitely advise you to learn it and start building it up yourself. Doing some of that work yourself if you don't have the budget to maintain it. But if you start planting the seeds now, even if you don't do a deal for the rest of 2020 and maybe the first half of 2021, if you start planting these seeds today and be consistent, I promise you, the end of 2021, you'll be getting some phones calling in. You'll be getting some phone calls from people that's actively looking to sell their house. So if you can learn it, it's definitely not a tool that can go to waste, and it works in any industry. And if you know it, so you can go to any industry and be successful because it's working right now. And like I said, the internet is important. So,
well, I asked because the bulk of my experience doing this is writing blog posts and creating that content that you say that you're going to need in order to draw. Mm-hmm. Like when Google's, reading your page for those keywords to optimize your pages and whatnot. But that's a lot of effort. Like writing those blog posts every week and having them posted. And so if you were going to outsource it, what would you expect to pay to be able to outsource just the amount of work you have to do to get that organic traffic?
Probably about $1,000 a month, because are going to have those articles that got to be written. Carrot actually have some articles that they have on there that you can just plug and play. But obviously, big articles right now is COVID-19, how to sell your house during COVID-19. All this is the real estate market tanking, recession, right? Those are a lot of keywords that a lot of people are looking at. But just staying up to date with what's going on is going to allow you to get some more traction. But definitely probably start looking at about $1,000 a month if you're going to have them doing articles for you as well. A lot of articles that we do, I promise you, I just talk about it, and then I'm not a real good English major at all. I think I failed English maybe twice in college. I passed at the time they made me pay extra for the class. That was the only time I passed. I was a scholarship athlete. So when it came out of my pocket, I passed it. But with that being said, what we do now is we record it, maybe a 5-minute statement on it, and then we'll go get it translated, and then I'll send it over to somebody else to make sure it all looks good. Then we post it on the site. Now we got something that didn't take a whole heck of a lot of time. 5-minute recording that was translated through an app. And then we went from there. I think the app is called Otter if you want to do that. But it can translate it so you're not in front of the computer worrying about all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Hey, no problem. So let's jump into mailers. So typically when we get to mailers, I'm about halfway done. So bear with me, you guys. But let's jump into mailers. Mailer source. One thing about mailers, we've made a lot of money from mailers. They absolutely work. And we've spent a lot of money and lost a lot of money from mailers as well. And when I say that is because we weren't consistent enough. My brother bought his homestead with mailers, which was a house that appreciated, I think, $100,000. No, not 100. $90,000 to $80,000 in DFW in 2 years. Right? He was able to sell it as is. Then you have to worry about it and walk away with a pretty good check on that deal and tax free. Put on top of that with the tax laws that's in effect for Texas. But mailers work. If there's one form of marketing that scaled a ton of companies, I wouldn't say today, but in this business period, it has to be mailers. It has to be mailers. It's the one thing that's been allowing a lot of people to make a lot of money for a long period of time. But the biggest thing about mailer, you got to be consistent. So let's jump right into it. The mailer sources. Who can I get to send mailers for me? Yellow Letter HQ, REI Pro, yellowletter.com. Deal Machine is actually a company that I used. Don't use them right now, but it's a company that I use for sending out mail. They're a little bit more expensive, but they are out there that you can use. So Yellow Letter HQ, REI Pro, yellowletter.com, and Deal Machine. Types of letters. So make sure you understand this. There's professional letters, basically meaning like a bill in the mail, right? There's a bill. There's handwritten letters, somebody more personable, right? More likely to get open. It's going to cost a little bit more, but more likely to get open, and it works. Postcards going to be very, very inexpensive. They're typically 4x6 postcards that go out. Typically, the ones we send is postcards with the actual Google image on them, or we'll send out postcards with the third notice, a default on it. So, or third and final notice, a little pink postcard. But both of those higher return rates. They render higher return rates. So that's one thing I'll look at postcards. Checks. Hey, checks are awesome. They cost a little bit more. But how many of you guys have, by show of hands, and you can let me know, how many of you guys have actually opened up a check that you thought, hey, I don't know about you guys. I've opened it in the mail, right? Hey, my God's in the blessing business. I don't know. This could be the one. This could be the one, right? So that's one thing I always look at. Stuffed mail, another great one. I can tell you guys an example of it. And I think I fell for this every time. Comes in a professional envelope, and it's stuffed mail. It's like a credit card, right? Credit card companies put that credit card inside that mail, so you're more likely to open it. How many of you guys got that, right? I know you guys have gotten it. Another thing is mail invitations. Invitation style. So it's more like a wedding, like a greeting type, or Christmas cards, send them around Christmas, or any big time holiday where cards are being sent out. But those are the different types of mailers. But it works. It works for every business. How many of you guys are still getting mailers from Bed Bath & Beyond? Right? They've been sending the same mailer every year. And we are still getting them. They got to let you know that it's return in it. They're making money from it. How many times you guys go there? You guys only go there when you get the mailer. Right? When you only, because for me, the store, well, before when I was years ago, it used to be that place is expensive, right? So we only go when we get the coupon. That's how my household was, right? We only go when we get the coupon. So it still works. It still works. Track record, DFW market responds well to mailers. The only time mailers do not work is when you don't send them consistently. And I'm about to get in there right now. Consistency. Mail at least 6 times to whoever you're targeting to. So if you got a list of 1,000. Don't tell me mailers aren't working when you only sent out 1,000 letters to that list of 1,000 once, right? Don't tell me it's not working because you haven't done enough, right? It's a study out there that it take at least 6 times for the consumer, 6 or 7 times for the consumer to see your logo, for them to build brand awareness, for them to feel comfortable with it. So if you send it once, yeah, you sent it once, but I don't really know where this from. You might be a scammer. Let me get it out of here. To give you a story, we got a house out in South Dallas off of Lark Ridge. We actually bought 2 houses on the street. We got a door knocking pre-foreclosure, and then while we was door knocking it, my brother rolled by and he noticed a vacant house. We put it in the deal machine. We started marketing to this person consistently every 21 days. Another mailer went out, and they got another piece of mail from us. Long story short, we closed that deal, made $21,000. When we went back and seen where that deal came from, we was like, it came from a mailer. Let's look it up. We went to deal machine. We said, man, how many times did we actually mail to this particular client? We mailed to them 12 times before they finally called us and gave us a $21,000 check, right? Because that's essentially what we made on the wholesale. We made $21,000 from that deal, but we mailed them 12 times. This is the best part I would say about outsourcing mail, is that when you outsource it, all you do is pay the bill. When you pay the bill, what that take away your mental. my mental is the biggest problem, right? I say that because if I'm sending mail every month, and I know I'm sending mail every month, if they haven't responded by the 7th, 8th time, you know what? Everybody that wanted to sell, they're gone. They're not in this list anymore. Everybody that wanted to sell already called me, right? But when you just paying the bill, now you get to that 9th time. Now you get to that 10th time, that 11th time, that 12th time, what it's going to take to get the deal. That's the most important thing. You're just spending the money. That's all you're doing, just spending the money, and before you know it, boom, you get a big deal from it. And you say, wow, this finally works. But until you get to that point, it's kind of, you have those mental blocks saying, man, you know what, they would have reached out to me if they wanted to sell. But this guy thought we was a scam, and he thought all the mail he had ever got was a scam. So it took him 12 times seeing the exact same postcard over and over and over, with that postcard coming to the house and always there. It took him that many times to actually say, man, let me just pick up the phone call. Literally, when we got the contract and gave them option money, they thought we had scammed them out of the house. They thought we had bought the house for $10, right? I thought they was going to cancel on us. But we ended up getting that deal. But it comes down to brand awareness. Keep sending it until that homeowner is comfortable with you actually and calling you. But one thing about mailers, typically when they call you, either they are fired up, which is a good thing, mean you're on the pain list, right? That means you're on a distress. They're going through some things. They're fired up. They're cussing you out, or they're ready to go. It's an active form of marketing, so it's very easy to close mailer leads because they've tired of messing with investors that can't close. They're ready to sell this particular house. So you got that.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, say you're dealing with the pre-foreclosure list.
Okay.
Do you need to get them to see your logo 6 times before that 30 days?
No, not really. I wouldn't necessarily mail to the pre-foreclosure list. They get a ton of mail, but the pre-foreclosure list is so competitive. I would rather get in front of that door and knock it, or maybe cold call, text, RVM, do something simple and quicker and faster, because if you mail to them, you really don't have the time frame to mail to them 6 times, right? I mean, pre-foreclosure, you got what?
Right.
A couple of weeks before you know it, 3, 4, 5 weeks if you're lucky. And you really don't have the time to send out that much mail. I would mail to them, but I would maybe mail twice, and then maybe compound my efforts with door knocking and handwritten letters when I leave the door knock, and then maybe some different things. But I would definitely do a little bit more with pre-foreclosures, for sure. I got a couple of questions over here. I go then forget about the coupon. I guess that's the Bed Bath & Beyond. Who do you use to outsource mail again, please, the mail? So with the mail, I use Yellow Letter HQ. Yellow Letter HQ is who I mail. That's why I use to outsource the mail. The best part about it is they got automatic systems. So they'll remind you, hey, you haven't hit this list in a while. Do you want to go ahead and send mail? And boom, you click a link and you'll go ahead and pay for it, and they'll send it out. So that's one thing, to keep it automated and just keep you fresh on what you need to do while paying and getting stuff done that needs to be done, right? During COVID, which form of marketing did you receive the best response? Facebook was really good. Facebook marketing, we're going to dive into it. Cold calling, because a lot of people's home. Text message, a lot of people home. Really, any form of marketing is not one that's just outdoing the other one. It's just whichever one you're consistently doing. That's really the secret, just being consistent and putting in the action that it takes to make money. But all of them work. All of them work during COVID. But like I said, text message is always a good one. I honestly don't believe any form of marketing that I'm going to teach you is seasonal. I don't believe in anything being seasonal. I think all of this works now. You just got to put the right consistent effort and action in behind it. But all of this works right now, regardless if it's COVID, regardless, whatever the case may be, it works right now. Open rate with mailers is 24%. My goodness, that tells me a story. 24%, and 1 out of 4 is going to open that mail. So how many people you got to get to open it to actually call you back, right? It's a 1% response rate. So if you send out 1,000 postcards, you're lucky. They say a 1%. Typically it's less than that. You're lucky if you get 10 calls back. You're lucky if you get 10 calls back. Now, the 5 or 6 that you may get, hey, I'm pretty sure they're going to return and they're going to want to sell that house, or they're going to be somewhat interested. That's the best part about it. But you're not going to get a lot of phone calls with mailers. So don't think that it's not working. It's just a part of the game. You got to keep sending them, keep sending them, keep sending them. Whatever you do, stick with it and be committed. Don't make my mistake. When I first got started, we started making money in real estate. Was like, man, let's automate it. Let's send out a ton of mail. We sent out a ton of mail, and I think we sent out 16,000 pieces at once. And with that being said, we spent a lot of money, but we didn't have that budget for the next 6 months to keep it going, right? So don't bite off as much as you can chew and look at your budget for the next 6 months. And then once you start getting consistently good, start spending a little bit more money on it when you can kind of know the return and what it's looking like. Is it scalable? Definitely scalable, because all these companies I just named for you do the work for you. What you don't do with a mailer, never put a website on the mailer. It lowers the response rate. So if you got your www at queensbuyhouses.com, boom, they're going to go to the website instead of calling you. And that's going to lower your response rate. And if they get to the website and don't like what they see there, boom, they're never going to call you. But if you'd have never put their website on there, they'd have called you, and then you had opportunity to sell that person or present whatever you want to present to it. So I leave with this golden nugget for this is going to be text to get an instant cash offer, which is huge. Text to get an instant cash offer. This does two things. This makes them more comfortable, because 90% of the people out there would rather text you than talk on the phone, right? Especially somebody they don't know. They'd rather text you than talk on the phone. And it allows you to be now compliant with them. So before, if they didn't opt into your text message, as soon as they respond to get their cash offer, now they've opted into your marketing campaign. So now you can text them over and over and over and never be out of compliance with it. So that's a good thing. And then the next one is PS. Don't forget to call. Make sure you keep that call to action on the end of their postcard. When they read through it, they understand what you do. Make sure you do not forget to give them a call of action. And that's, hey, call me. I did all this nice stuff. I paid this money. Have it sent to you. I paid for the mailer or the stamp. How about you give me a call now? I've done my job. Give me a call. So make sure you get that call to action. Keep that up there. So we got that. Let's look at this. Questions over here. Do you have to keep all this forever? I guess when you get successful, then you outsource it all. Yeah, so that's the goal. You got to get started, right? You got to get started. Everybody got to start somewhere. And initially, the only thing that can start us and get us rolling in the right direction is action, hustle. Those things cannot be replaced. But once you start making, maybe you got $30,000, $40,000 in the bank, and you want to actually make a business. At that point, that's when you actually start. Hiring out and outsourcing a lot of it. Some of that stuff can be taken off your back, like cold calling. You don't have to cold call forever. If you got your deal, man, go hire some cold callers. Go train them up and keep those leads coming in. That's a cheaper way of doing it. You can have a cold call, or you can have a VA on your text message, very cheap. You can have those VAs answering RVMs, very cheap, right? These are some ways that you can outsource it and not spend a whole heck of a lot of money. But it's not ever a forever thing. We want to get out of that trap so we can actually start getting some of the time back. We want to start creating a business. That's why it's very important that you document what you do. And you understand, you automate it, you put it in the system, and then you outsource it. That way you got a true business. They know exactly what to do. My VAs, I take a lot off their plate. And initially I tried to make them do everything. But now it's to a point where, hey, let's take a lot off their plate. Let's have them come in and do one or two things, and that's it. So they don't have to ask me, what are we doing today? They're asking me, okay, where's my list? I know I'm supposed to upload my list today. Where's the data? Right? They're asking me questions like, I need to get started. My job is starting. Not, hey, where's Jordan? Or, hey, is he late? Or whatever the case may be. You want to make it so simple that they know exactly what they're supposed to do. And regardless what we get, they come in focused, ready to go. Because they know the expectations. So that's one of the biggest things when you're talking about scaling. But yeah, it will allow you freedom. It's just initial. You got to put in the meat grinder, right? You got to kill the cow to get to the steak. So you got to go through a lot of stuff to end up getting what you want. But essentially, you got to put in some work up front in order to be able to gain traction and then keep momentum going. It's a process. So you wouldn't list your company name either? So they'll get that from so they can't Google it. No, on a mailer, I wouldn't list the company name on the mailer as well. I'll just keep it. Hey, try to keep it mom and pop shop. Maybe you put a picture of you, the husband and the dog, or something like that. Something keep it personable. But as far as the mailer, no, I wouldn't put my company name on it. I just want them to see me enough or hear the name. Hey, my name is Josh. That's typically what we had on our mailers. That's my twin brother name, and that's what we roll with. So I answered the phone. Hey, this is Josh. But I wanted to sound more personable. I didn't want to sound like a big business. Big business in real estate, for whatever reason, don't go well. Big businesses think logical, where in this we're emotional, and in order to be emotional and vulnerable with me, I need to be like a person, not a big company. So I would rather be more personal than anything else. Another question: there are some hot leads that you have to say no to. Are there hot leads that you have to say no to? For instance, if the person is unreasonable, but you spent so much money to get them to that point of a hot lead, do you make it work? Do you see that the hot lead is loyal to you purchasing the property, or do they just stop the negotiations and feel that they can get with what they want elsewhere? Is there a hot lead? No, so when we're talking about hot leads, typically hot leads are people that want to sign and go with us right now. I've probably closed 90% of them. I wouldn't say I've let any hot leads go unless it was just a number that I couldn't get. And then at that point, it's not really a hot lead. It's a non-motivated person. Their prices outweighing circumstances for them. So I want the people that's circumstances outweighing price. That's the biggest thing. So on that note, I would definitely say no. 90% of the people we deal with, man, shoot, when they're hot leads, they're like, there's all we got to do is go sign a paper. We don't really have to negotiate. Right, had the example, my biggest deal we hit for $72,000 out in Rowlett, right off the water, and that was a wholesale. And that guy just wanted out. He was going through a divorce, leg was being amputated, just got diagnosed with diabetes. The wife he saw through cancer, now was divorcing him. Now he's sick, right? So that guy just wanted out, and he was willing to take less for it because he knew he was splitting the money with his wife. So he was willing to see her fall more than him get the most amount of money. Right? Though that's a hot lead. We literally got that house under contract. He called on a Sunday at maybe 10. We had the house under contract with both husband and wife signed by 5 that evening, and literally had it wholesale the next day for $72,000. Or wholesale, when I say we had a $72,000 assignment fee the next day by 1 o'clock. So that was the quickest deal we ever did. And then another deal did it out in Grapevine. Lady says she wanted $15,000. I knew her number. I hit it a little higher just because I wanted her to. She went through some things. I wanted her to make some money on it. She ended up walking away with $60,000. We ended up finding a buyer that paid me $51,000. That's a hot lead. She told me the number. Typically, when they tell you the number, that's a very hot lead, and those people, it's kind of hard to run away from them. They want to do business with you. Wow, that's the kind of deal I need. Hey, you put in the hustle. I promise you, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. There's deals like that happening every day. And if you want a big deal, this is one thing a lot of people teach. They tell you to go to the rougher neighborhoods. I don't tell you to go to the rough neighborhoods because it's hard to make a lot of money on a house that don't cost a lot, right? If it's going to be worth $100,000, there's only so much spread in that thing. But if it's worth $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, now we can start making some profits on them. The one in Grapevine was worth $250,000, so it wasn't very expensive. We got it for $160,000. Found a buyer that bought it for $210,000. Right? The lady ended up walking away with $60,000. She originally only wanted $15,000. So I know I could have wrote up that contract and just said guaranteed $15,000 to sell her, and she probably would have signed. Right? But I made sure it was a win for her. She walked away with $60,000. I walked away with $51,000. 51, and shoot, we kept rocking and rolling. So it's happening every day. You got to make sure your market dictates that too. I would definitely say those type of deals are more typical in DFW, Austin area, whereas Houston, San Antonio are more like base hit markets. So base hit meaning the houses aren't as expensive. They typically sell, and you typically walk away with $15,000 on those particular type of deals. But in the Dallas market, so you can get $20,000, $30,000 all day long because the buyers want this property, because it's appreciating, it's going up in value, it's more expensive, right? So that's one good thing about being in an expensive market. It costs more to get a deal, but when you get one, there you go. You got an opportunity to make a lot of money on it. So that's the best part. So when I get in the mailers, I got $3 signs because you got to look at it for 6 months. It's not $500 right now. It's 6 months. Denton County. What about Denton County? If you're talking about it, can you make money in Denton County? Yes. Yes, you can make money in Denton County.
10,000?
You say what?
About 10,000?
Yeah, you should make more than that. If DFW, period, you should make more. Your average assignment fee should be more than that. It should probably be around $17,000, $18,000.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Some of you guys getting excited, huh? I love it. I love it. So let's go into the next slide. So I want to talk a little bit more about mailers. Obviously, we're kind of pressed for time right now. So I'm just going to skip this. But what this is this YouTube link right here. I'll pull it up. Should I? I don't know if I'll be able to get back out of it. But this YouTube link is just teaching you how to mail merge. You can write that down, mail merge. If you're going to do your mailers yourself, you can create your own font, which make it like somewhat handwritten, right? So handwritten letters, typically if you outsource them, it costs them $1 a letter. If you handwritten yourself, it's more like 60, 70 cents. So your dollar go a little bit further with that. And then obviously you can mail merge. Mail merge just going to be able to put the names and addresses on each one without you manually changing up the letter and doing it. So it's a YouTube mail merge, and there's a ton of companies out there, a ton of videos you can go and watch, and it'll teach you exactly how to do that. So that's what we used to do when we used to do our own mailers. We used to do yellow letters. But higher return. The reason why we did it, higher return. Handwritten, more personable, higher return. They're more likely to open it. Who sent me this? Who took their time to write on this piece of paper? Let me read it. So we got that. Bandit signs. Bandit signs, one of my favorite ones. And the reason why it's one of my favorite ones is because when we first got started, when I met Kelton, it got me in contact with the right people, right? And then when we pushed forward and actually started doing some bandit signs for myself, I bought my first fix and flip from Bandit Signs. We bought our second fix and flip, which I thought me and my brother, we wanted to be the property brothers, right? We wanted to be them so bad. It was like HGTV. We're twins too. Hey, we're going to do this, right? So when we did that, I talked to Kelton. I was like, man, look, he's like, how you guys doing? I haven't heard from you in a while. I was like, man, shoot, I'm doing pretty good. We got these deals on our plate. One of them we're just sitting on. He's like, man, did you get a good deal on it? I was like, yeah, I got a good deal on it, man. Shoot, it was actually the best deal I've ever seen because we actually bought that house with no money out of pocket. Literally, we got cut a check to buy it. He was like, man, shoot, you probably need to wholesale it then. I was like, wholesaling, how does that work? He said wholesaling is just simply, he had already told us about wholesaling. We didn't want to be a wholesaler. He didn't explain that part. We didn't want to be a wholesaler. But then what ended up happening, we started shopping it around. Before you know it, we made $25,000. Before you know it, we got another deal out in East Texas as well that paid $10,000. So here we are, wanting to be fix and flip guys. We just made $35,000 in 6 weeks while still swinging the hammers. I wasn't personally swinging hammers, but overseeing contractors, going to Home Depot, picking out the flooring and the paint and the granite countertops and the backsplash and redoing the bathrooms. We're going through all this stuff. In about 6 weeks, we've been paid $35,000. Still got that deal in the pipeline. And then we get consistent. We start going so crazy with it. Me and my brother are driving from Tyler, which is an hour and a half from Dallas, to put out bandit signs, and we're consistently doing that every Tuesday and Thursday night. That's how hard we was running. We ended up getting a deal in Richardson. We're partnering with the Tides on that one on a condo out here in Richardson. And then I moved to Dallas. I said, you know what? I'm going with the heavy hitters. I want to be a big fish in a big pond. Let me get out here and do it. I go up here to Dallas. We get that deal out in Rowlett for $72,000. Here we are, just made 6 figures from bandit signs, wholesaling properties when I thought I wanted to be a fix and flip guy. So I will forever love bandit signs for what they've done for me and my family and shoot, just the outlook on everything. So bandit signs, they work as long as you put consistent action and enough dedication behind it. But that's one thing we did with bandit signs. Where to buy your signs, dirt cheap signs. You can Google dirt cheap signs, and I promise you're going to get 5 or 6 companies. There's a company out of Austin that does a great job with them that allows you to ultimately just sit back and they'll write them for you, or you can get them printed off. I actually, when we first hit it big, I actually used to buy those bandit signs off of eBay, and I used to get on eBay and I used to go in there and boom, 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 write them up. We'd get that black marker, that jumbo size marker, and we'll write on every bandit sign. And we'll have 500 to, we never did 500 in a week, I don't believe, but we used to always have 300 to 400 going out a week. When I first hit it big, I just stayed consistent. I'll be honest with you. I went into my brother's house and I told him exactly, I was like, look, man, we got an opportunity to make some money in real estate, but if we don't do it now, this opportunity is going to go to the wayside because we had joined in October, and here we are in March, and we still really haven't made any money. But we put our bandit signs on a Sunday night. Well, the city comes to work on Monday and picks them all up. So we took a loss, but what they didn't take was our commitment, our desire to make it happen. So we just kept putting them out, kept putting them out, and ended up taking off on it. So that's really the biggest thing, is just being committed to it, seeing the process through. How many do you put out? You put out a bulk. You put out a bulk of bandit signs if you're going to do it. That's the only way to do real estate, is doing a bulk. I wouldn't want you guys to go out there and do 30 or 40 a week and then come back to me and tell me it's not working. Right? Do a lot of it, and then you have success. Let's look at where do locations. So this is basically, where do we put them at? We put them at intersections. We put them at Walmarts, Class C neighborhoods. Class C neighborhood is basically just meaning you're not going to find a Starbucks, right? You're not going to find a Starbucks in a Class C neighborhood. Class C neighborhood means it's a lot of rundown properties. So if it's a very, very desirable neighborhood, typically the people that live in that neighborhood will pick them up, right? They'll pick up them signs and throw them away. The city don't have to do the work. The people that live there, the citizens, will actually go out and pick up and throw those signs away. But when they're in the kind of a rundown part of the city, people don't care. Oh, it's just a sign, and they'll just leave it there, right? So Class C is just a rundown part of the neighborhood. Typically, you're going to see a lot of, I would call it the ghetto, right? You're going to see a lot of people walking, people everywhere, and just don't feel safe. But typically, it's a lot of opportunity amongst those particular houses. So Class C neighborhoods, Walmarts, Kroger's, all that type of stuff. Yes, Class C, not Class C. Yeah, I messed that up. I noticed it was close. I was wondering if anybody's going to catch that. Yeah, Class C, not Class C. So that's what you got. And then how do you track it? If I'm going to outsource bandit signs, how do I track it? You're going to track it with Simple Crew, which is the app you can download. But literally the people that goes out, so we used to pay people to put them out for us. Same, got it from the Tots. They would go out, put the sign out, and then with Simple Crew, you could take a picture of the sign, and then ultimately with that, it'll drop a red pin on my map showing exactly where that bandit sign was located, and I'll be able to pull up and take a picture or look at the picture. In essence, that's how we used to keep our people accountable, so they get paid per sign they put out, not just saying they put out signs and dump them in the truck, in the garbage can, right? So that's one thing. If you're going to outsource it, make sure people are doing their job the right way. And then I say scalable. Is it truly? I say kinda, because typically when we outsource it, man, people don't put it in the right spot, and then the ROI on it is just not really there. When you outsource it, you start spending so much money on having people put the signs out. It's almost like they're taking away from the profit that you would make on it. Now it's costing, instead of costing $2,500, it's costing $5,000 to get everything out, and it's just not worth it. Now we're at $5,000 on a marketing campaign that's not really generating enough leads. The best thing about bandit signs, typically when you get leads from bandit signs, and truly leads, they are always hot. I've never had to follow up with a bandit sign lead, because when they're ready to sell, they're hot, they're ready to sell. It's kind of tough to get them now, but if you do it the right way and you stay consistent and you go at it with the bulk, you're going to get a lot more return on it. There's still work. You just got to do the work. And tell you right now, with so many people doing cold calling, text messaging, RVMs, a lot of people are not doing the work, and they're blaming it on everything else that's going on. Oh, COVID's happening. Nobody's really buying it. They're feeding themselves the negative stuff. So you got to make sure you're going to go out there and put in the work. And I promise you, if you put in the work, there's no way you're not going to get any return from it. So can you put them anywhere? There are no rules for them. Yes, there are rules for bandit signs, so you can't put them anywhere. Like I said, if you go to a Class A neighborhood, typically the citizens will take them down, but they are against city ordinance. So tell you another story. When we first got started, right, we made some rookie mistakes. The number that we put on our website was the same number from our bandit signs. So we put them out, be consistent, start getting the city to call us. Before you know it, there's my brother's name and that number on our website. He could literally Google that number, and he found then the city found us. He showed up to my brother's house. He issued him a warning, because now he's officially been warned that these are illegal. Now, hey, if I see another sign with that number and your name, now they can give us a ticket. Well, what he didn't know was behind my brother in the foyer where he served him the warning was 10 boxes full of stakes and signs. So we was literally ramping it up and going harder. We got served a warning. All we did was change up the number, and we used Grasshopper, which is a great system. If you're going to do bandit signs, use Grasshopper. Pay for that number, because if the city called that number, Grasshopper will not give you up. Google Voice, all those other companies, typically they'll give you up. But if you pay for Grasshopper,